Will Jon Jones dominate Reyes? Will Reyes' stated supreme athletic ability be enough to dethrone Jon Bone Jones? And what can we learn from the body language in the press conference? All will be revealed in this Believe in Bruce body language video. So everybody, welcome back to Believe in Bruce, the body language guy. Body language, mental health, performance psychology and well-being, anything to do with the head and heart. If you're interested in it, this is the channel for you. Subscribe below, give us a thumbs up, and most importantly, at the end of my video, please leave your comments below. I love finding out your take on things, whether you agree with me or disagree, all comments are welcome. I received a load of messages about Bruce. Have a look at this press conference and see what you can analyse, what you can observe, what you can make us aware of from a body language perspective. Messages from all over the world. I'm sure even Dana White was messaging us here. In the interest of being authentic and transparent, I just made that up. But never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So that's what we're going to look at, the body language. Now the body language, people say, you know, the keys to someone's soul is looking them in the eyes. I say the keys to someone's soul is looking what's going on within the body language. Because what people do automatically gives a really good indication of what's going on inside the head. Think, feel, act. If you can understand how somebody thinks and you can impact that, then you can understand how they feel. Hormonal regulation. If you could tweak how they think and tweak how they feel, you can impact their performance. And that's what we're looking for from a body language perspective. Are these two athletes impacted each other to the point, and this is what I must, get across to you, to the point where it's negatively impacting their performance on fight night. Now, in relation to body language and psychology, how this can help a fighter, in 2020, let's have a look. So people will offer without fear that they have a nutritionist, that they've got a strength and conditioning person, that they've got a head coach, that they might have a pad man or a striking coach, whatever it is. But it's not as common to hear, well, I've got, a psychologist who helps me. I've got someone on board with my team who helps me analyse the body language of my opponent from previous fights to find out how we can irritate them, how we can maybe get that slight marginal gain over them. But this is the way that sport is going. Everybody's looking for those marginal gains, so don't be surprised to see people like myself working with fighters in order to give fighters that extra little bit of snap, that extra 1-2% to try to get in the heads of the opponents. Because if you can score points before the fight, that actually impacts on their performance on fight night. Why wouldn't you be interested in that? But if you want to understand somebody's soul, look at their body language. And also in relation to psychology and body language, well, it's not something that you just do once. The amount of people that I talked to and said, oh yeah, I read that book. All right, well, so how many times did you read it? How many times did you practice those skills? How many times did you apply those psychological tools or models or exercises to help you grow in your muscle brain, if I can call it that? Because you'll go to the gym and you'll get on the bench press. You wouldn't go to the gym and just do one bench press and say, oh yeah, I've done it now. I'm hench, I'm strong, whatever it may be. You're going again and again and again, those repetitions. Life is reps. The more you do something, if it's the correct form in the correct way, or even on your journey to being in the correct form and the correct way, you're more likely to get better at it. And this applies, brothers and sisters, to psychological performance, to resilience, to being able to control critical situations. Because often it's within critical situations, what we haven't prepared for, that we haven't actually visualised and we've went through and we've drilled and drilled and drilled. That's sometimes where people fall down. If you haven't spent enough time knowing yourself, getting to know the authentic version of you and rolling with that and improving yourself, you're probably not going to be the best version of you. But on the fight specifically about body language, now body language, it gives us an indication of what's going on with inside someone's head. But, are they lying or are they not? Do they feel comfortable or they're not? You can never guarantee if someone's lying. But what you can do is you can notice two things, comfort or discomfort. And if there was discomfort, if it would help that performance, if it would negate your opponent's performance, I would start digging, I would focus on that, I would get my laser beam on there and I wouldn't move off that target. So what we're going to look at is the Jon Jones, Dominick Reyes press conference. And again, we're going to look at those little subtle, it's just the subtle things that if you pick up on, if you can observe, remember we see but we rarely observe about what's going on within the opponent's head. And I will do this is what I do, this is my passion. I will bring your awareness to certain things, a slight move, a certain look, a slight twitch, and I will explain why this means what I believe it means in relation to what was said and what did they do at that particular time. And that's what we're looking for from body language. 2 seconds before, 2 seconds after, what was said, what did they do, boom, we've got them. So the first bit of body language that I want to show between Jones and Reyes is this. Yeah, it's actually nothing much, I just thought that Reyes is coming in wearing his granddad's suit. You know what, I've got to make myself laugh during these videos, so I just thought I'd put that one's for me, that one's for Believe in Bruce. But the first real bit of body language that we've got is when one of the reporters is offering to Reyes that he's fighting the greatest of all time. And what you see Reyes does is slightly just touch the bottle, just to move it ever so slightly. Now, from a body language perspective, he doesn't need to touch that bottle. That bottle wasn't going to fall over. That bottle wasn't doing anything. But he needed to just adjust that bottle. And you notice it's a touch with the back of the hand. Because it's the back of the hand, that's a brush. And what he's actually doing is he's brushing that thought away. He doesn't like that thought. He wants to move that thought as if it's the bottle away from him. Yeah, and again, the question followed by this, that's the behavioural cluster. Again, biology doesn't lie. I'll show you the video, see what you think.
2.5 years from UFC debut to now fighting the man that many say is the greatest of all time. I've got to ask,
Yeah, so he didn't need to move that bottle. He didn't need to touch it. The bottle was stationary. It wasn't doing anything. He's adjusting the space around him. He's brushing that thought away. He's touching it. He's moving it because he doesn't like that thought about him going up against the greatest of all time. It's not to say that he's scared, all right? And we need to be really clear on this. But it's something that's hit home and he registers it. There's that little adrenaline surge which forces him to just move away. It's a thought, I want to get rid of that. Really interesting from a fight perspective. And I thought it was really interesting here, right at the beginning of the press conference, what's going on inside Jon Jones's head. Because he's asked a question and then he just doesn't answer it. He answers it with something differently, as he indicates himself at the end of this little clip.
Difficult to face guys like this. It's good to see you guys today. How are you guys? Oh, that's good. That's good. God bless you guys. I'm glad you guys made it today. I'm super excited. Like Dominick, I'm fired up. I'm pumped up, ready to destroy. What was your question exactly?
Now again, what he's displayed there is sometimes what I do when I'm not fully listening, when I'm taking in my surroundings. Is the surrounding impacting him? Is the audience participation causing him to lose focus? Positively or negatively, we just don't know. But what we do know is he definitely didn't answer the question that was asked. Now here what we've got is a thing called eye blocking. And I explained this on my Fury Wilder video that I posted. So the guy's asking Jones about how does he feel getting up for somebody like Reyes, who's potentially not even, the words he uses, is a marquee name. And remember, body language, what's been said 2 seconds before, 2 seconds after, how do they react? And it's not Jones that I want you to focus on, it's Reyes, because what Reyes does here is he shuts his eyes at that particular moment. And what that is, that's a thought, oh, his pride's been wounded. Now, he probably realises that he's not a marquee name yet. Yeah, not to say that he couldn't get there. But at the moment, that's true. But it also hurts his pride. It's like, oh, you've just made me aware of the obvious, and you've actually just stated some truth, but I don't like it. I feel a bit undermined. It was hurtful what you said. And again, all this is a slight blink, but it's within that 2 second time frame of somebody saying that. And again, remember, they're speaking to Jones. How do you feel trying to get up for somebody like Reyes, who is not a marquee name? Blink. Let's have a look at the clip.
When you were a world champion, he wasn't even fighting professionally yet, so I'm curious if it's difficult to get excited for it's not like a marquee name or somebody that you.
And remember, it's not that he's got something in his eye. He could have something in his eye, but it was because those words were offered at that particular time, followed by the behavioural observation of a blink, which is the eye block, and he doesn't like that sound. It's exactly the same. Biology doesn't lie. Now, what's interesting here, what I would like you to do is watch what Reyes does with his hand. He actually forms that hand wringing gesture here. So Jon Jones has been asked a question. Jon Jones is saying, this is what I'm going to do to him. And it's interesting because what you've got is that Reyes is smiling, but you'll see that his hand comes across. Yeah, his hand actually joins in together there.
No, it's not difficult to get excited. You know, Dominick starting off this whole thing with talking about party favorites and bringing up my past and stuff like that. It was exactly what I wanted and what I needed. Somebody who's tall. People think I do bad against tall people, so I'm excited for this challenge. I'm excited for this challenge. I'm excited for this challenge.
He's forming a shield. That's what he's doing, he's forming a shield. Interestingly though, he's actually smiling at the same time. So, now the smile seems authentic. It's not a thing called the Duchenne smile. A Duchenne smile is a bit like where somebody tells you to smile and you don't feel comfortable. It's a bit like this. That probably looked a bit crazy, but we'll roll with that. So he's actually given an authentic smile, and you can tell because at the side of his eyes here, you can see these muscles are contracting. So the eyes plus the smile, he is actually enjoying himself. But what's subliminally going on, subconsciously going on, those levels that he may not even be aware of himself but believe in Bruce's, is that there's a bit of protection here. And again, it's the hands that are interlinking to form that shield, because it's called ventral fronting. What he's doing is protecting his major organs, subconsciously. It's like I'm coming round and I'm forming this shield and I'm protecting my major organs. And you see the opposite of this when, you know, you might go down the street on a Saturday night and you see fellas fighting and it's like, hey, you want some? Come on, I'll give it to you. We're exposing, we're ventral fronting as it's called here. Yeah, but what he's doing, he's not giving that off. He's actually wanting to protect himself. It's a really interesting mixture that he does seem genuinely happy, but his subconscious is saying, whoa, hey, Dominic, just be careful, son. Be careful, we might need a little bit of protection here. And there's a couple of things, so I'm going to show you a couple of clips here about when Jon Jones is asked about Israel Adesanya. And you can see that when he starts talking about it, he tries to give the narrative that, no, he's not in my mind. But you'll see what he does on this clip is a lick of the lips.
Israel Adesanya is the name that keeps coming up. And one day you say, I'm not talking about this joker. And then 30 minutes later, and then 30 minutes later, and then 30 minutes later.
And then again, a little bit further on, he said, yeah, he's still not in my mind. But then you get another lick of the lips.
And I like to keep the people excited. So that's all that's about. He is not in my head.
And remember about the biology. Yeah, at that particular moment, what's going on inside the head, we present something autonomously, without choice, that our body language gives off. And I'll give you a little bit of background now as to what's going on inside of here. So when we see threat, we see some data, if you will. In fact, let's call it data. Our thalamus picks this up. Alright, so this is like the junction that directs sensory information across the brain. And generally where it'll go to is two areas. There's a bit more, but let's just keep it simple. The cortex or the amygdala. If the amygdala detects a threat, it will take over the cortex and we will go on autonomous fight, flight or freeze response. But what happens here, there's a series of connections that goes on that will lead to the lick of the lips. So the sensory data comes in, the thalamus picks it up. He's all visualizing this potential match or this threat. Now, again, he's not scared of fighting. It doesn't guarantee that he's scared, but there's some type of fight or flight reaction there. So the amygdala's kicked in. The amygdala then talks to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus talks to the pituitary gland. The hypothalamus is where our hormones are regulated. Talks to the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland sends a shooting signal down to the adrenal glands, and boom, we start thinking that we are in a fight. And you hear about this all the time. Yeah, adrenaline dumps, old ladies picking up cars and clean and jerking them above the head. All through the way that the brain works. But also what you've got is a part of the brain called the hippocampus. That's where we store emotional connections. So he obviously has thought about this. When people say, you know, he's not in my head, you cannot not think about someone if they've, you know, say, I want to fight you. Like, don't think of a black cat. So everything is on the table when someone's been inside your head. It doesn't mean that you are weak or you are strong. But what we see here is because that data has come in and he's remembering something from the hippocampus. So he's already remembered him having this confrontation, if you will, this engagement, there's some visualization with Adesanya. Is that it hits the amygdala, it's got across to the hypothalamus, that hippocampus has come in, it's kicked into the pituitary gland, you've got that adrenal dump, and then, you get the lick of the lips. And the lick of the lips is a globally recognized body language sign for, I'm getting ready for something, I'm getting ready for it. And again, biology doesn't lie, you can't disagree with the data that was there. He's talking about a certain situation, he's visualized that situation, that's thought, the feel, the hormone and regulation, put those two together and you get the performance. Think, feel, act, think, feel, act. Think, feel, act is everywhere that we look. If you're more in control of your thoughts, you're more in control of your hormonal regulation, your feeling. Put those two together, you get the performance, either positive or negative. But it all starts with thoughts. Thoughts become things. So he's not being really that authentic when he says, you know, he hasn't thought about him or he's not inside his head, because the lick of the lips wouldn't have come at that T-junction had he not been perusing this information, had he not been ruminating or visualizing this potential guy that they're talking about now. Just a quick reminder, if you are interested in body language or anything like that, please subscribe below, give us a thumbs up, it would be great for you to support my channel. It takes a lot of effort to make videos, so give us a subscribe if you like what I'm doing. And another example here, I'm just going to show the video, is that again there's some talking and you see Reyes start to lean forward. He leans forward in his chair. Now, this is very akin to when someone has an argument. You know, if you and I are talking, I'm saying something that you don't like, you're saying something that I don't like, again, over a table, what we'll do is both parties will lean forward. What we're trying to do from an animalistic perspective is dominate the space. It's when someone walks up to you and my chest is bigger than yours. So you see that Reyes' hands come across here. He actually goes to say something on the microphone, so there is that little adrenaline surge. He wants to respond. He also does a bit of that, just a split second again, but that's what we're looking for. Micro expressions, some lip compression because he wants to say something but he doesn't, but then his arms comes across and he leans forward.
But Yeah, man. I don't know what I want to do to him, man. I don't know if I want to knock him out, choke him out. But, dude, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. Dude, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. Dude, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him.
That's that little adrenaline surge where you can tell that he's wanting to do something. And then we get to the grip. This is why I like the gloves are off with Matchroom, what they do. Because both fighters are looking at each other. It is really quite, it's almost eye to eye. There is nothing more intimidating than eye to eye contact. There isn't. It's like you walking down the street, you're looking at somebody, they look at you, and, generally you'll sort of look away. Eye contact in the animal kingdom, it's like, what, do you want some? I'll give it you. So it comes to the face-off. Yeah, the face-off. And what we see here is that Dana White actually calls them on. Now, Dana White hasn't said anything, but his action is, yeah, come on, walk towards each other, and then you see him touch his nose. Because he hasn't said anything, but he knows what's coming. That is a KPI, if you will, that he's visualising, oh no, this could be about to go down. And again, that little rub of the nose is showing a sign of discomfort. He's aware of what could happen now, so he just gives a little one of these. And again, remember to talk about eye contact, as again, it can be very intimidating. What you see here is Dominick Reyes come on, Jon Jones comes across very proud, very straight, looking forward. And then Dominick Reyes starts to walk forward, but you'll see when there's no need, there is nothing on the floor. He can see where Jon Jones is coming from, he can see Dana White, he will look down. It's a bit like Deontay Wilder did to Tyson Fury when they were coming together. There was no need to look down, but that just gives an authentic indication that there's a bit of awkwardness there in that face-to-face situation. But it reminds me of Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson's done that infamous speech about, I'm master of the art of skullduggery. I've beat my opponent psychologically before they even get into the ring. And I'm looking for that chink. I never take my eyes off him. I never take my eyes off him. And then boom. In fact, I'll show you the clip now.
But I always stayed afraid of him. But as closer I get to the ring, I'm more confident. Once I'm in the ring, I'm a god. No one could beat me. I walk around the ring, but I never take my eyes off my opponent. I keep my eyes on him. Even if he's ready and pumping, he can't wait to get his hands on me as well. I keep my eyes on him. I keep my eyes on him. I keep my eyes on him. Then once I see a chink in his armor, boom, and one of his eyes may move, and then I know I have him.
And that head going down there, that could be that chink, because whatever Dominick Reyes does now, he's almost trying to paddle back uphill. But then we get a bit of authentic awkwardness from Jon Jones. Rather than just step in, he looks down and then step in. If you're trying to threaten someone, which he's trying to dominate that space, you just step forward. But again, Jon Jones looking down, now he could be looking to see where is his feet, but most people would just step forward. Have a look at the clip. You see the head going down and then he steps forward. So there's a little bit of awkwardness on both sides, which in the context of a face-to-face, you would expect something like that. And then when you've got Jon Jones turns away here, there's like this lingering stare from Reyes. But it's almost like, hey buddy, the horse is bolted. Like, it's no good getting your courage up now that, he's turned away. You can stare all you want, but you're still not going to come back from that chink in your armour. And then we've got Jon Jones, who does this uncommon sort of, I'm not going to look at you, but I'm going to talk out the side of my mouth while trying to look at the audience. Now I do believe the reason why he's done that is because actually he just can't be bothered with this guy. He probably sees him levels below him, so I don't think he's scared of him. I don't think either fighter's scared. I do think there's some condescending attitude that's backed up by a clip that I'm going to show you soon, where it seems like a parent-child type relationship. Like all the language that Jones has used so far is like he's going to put this child back in his place. And then you get a lovely bit here where Reyes starts saying, hey, you can't mess with me, I've got my granddad's suit on. Look at me, I've got my granddad's suit. You've got no chance. Again, just a little bit of humour for me to keep me motivated. Then you got a bit of finger wagging by Jon Jones, and it's interesting now, the finger wagging definitely isn't, it's not strict, it's not rapid. It seems to be more of a calm, but almost a telling off. But I talked about that condescending thing before. It's almost like a telling off. It's like, hey, you're going to get it and there's nothing you can do about it. So Jon Jones is very confident that he has got this parent block in relationship to the parent-child type thing that's going on. And then in the end, this is great, where Jon Jones walks off, and then you've got Reyes sort of waving and giving it a bit of this, you know, like sort of the gobby hand gesture. But it's a little bit like one of those dating programs that you see. You know when somebody gets dumped and the cameras are still on them and then they walk off? And then someone tries to take a drink just to try and say, hey, I'm still in control of this situation. Or where you've been running for a bus and you're nearly there, but the bus pulls away and you're aware that people are watching you, and you pretend you sort of do this weird calm run, like you just try to slow down and pretend that you weren't running for the bus in the first place because you don't want to look stupid. That's what I see coming from Dominick Reyes here. He tries to dominate, but Jones is already off and he's left like some type of person who's just been dumped on the first date. So remember, dominating that psychological space is only helpful if it helps you to negate your opponent's performance on fight night. It could mean everything, it could mean nothing, but body language is absolutely key, especially if you're preparing for a fight. Because if you notice what they're irritated, what irks them, what really gets their goat, you can utilise this if you're happy to do so, and it doesn't affect your performance if it doesn't make you too stressed. So that you can do everything in your power to make sure that all the cards, or as many cards as you have, are stacked in your favour. Let's see what happens on fight night. Jon Jones versus Dominick Reyes. Hope you've enjoyed the body language video. Let us know your comments below. Are you noticing these things that I'm talking about? Are you noticing more of the things that I'm talking about now you're listening to Believe in Bruce? Please subscribe, connect with us on Twitter and Instagram. If you give us some idea of the videos that you would like to see, or the examples of body language that you think would be intriguing for my audience. Can't wait for the Fury Wilder fight. I'm going to do some more videos on that, especially this alter ego thing called the Bronze Bomber that he has, alright? The Bronze Bomber, because I think he uses this in a way that people aren't aware of, and it's not so powerful as he would like to intend, as he would like to communicate. But more importantly, believe in Bruce. Be kind to yourselves and each other.